Y'all, we're making pound cake. Come on. Welcome to Highfalutin Low Carb, the random web series where we find and test the best low carb recipes this crazy internet has to offer. Today, we're going to be tackling pound cake. Stay tuned. All right, low carb pound cake. Can it be done? Today, we're going to be testing two popular recipes online for low carb or keto pound cake. Our first recipe comes to us from Corina Nielsen. Her recipe can be found on perfectketo.com, and it is ultra moist vanilla keto pound cake. And our second recipe comes to us from the group fit2servegroup.com, and it's low carb keto cream cheese pound cake. So we're going to be testing both of these recipes. If you're new here, that's what we do. Welcome aboard. If you're not new here, welcome back. You've probably noticed that I've been gone for several weeks. Unfortunately, I'm just going to make it short and sweet and let you know I've been quite ill for about 3 weeks, and I'm just finally feeling better. If you follow me on other social media, you've probably seen what had been going on, but otherwise I'm fine. We're back in business. I know the world is falling apart at the moment, and I don't want to really touch on that too much because it's not something that I'm qualified to speak about. And I know so many of you tell me that you come here not just for recipes, but for enjoyment. You just enjoy watching me cook and spending a half hour together. And so that's what I'm going to keep continuing to do. As long as you enjoy what I'm doing here, I'll continue to keep it up. So in light of that, before we begin, I need to give a huge thank you to Perfect Keto for sponsoring this week's video. Perfect Keto is one of the most well-respected manufacturers of low-carb and keto products on the market. And as you know, I use a lot of their products in baking. Today we're going to be using the Keto Collagen. I use their Keto Whey. They really add a great texture to baked goods, for low-carb baked goods. You can cut some of the almond flour and the coconut flour. And in addition to that, they're just high-quality protein supplements and collagen supplements. Collagen is great for skin, hair, and nails, your joints especially. There's some evidence that it can help fine lines and wrinkles. I don't know, like I say, we're gonna find out. But it's something I use daily and I'm proud to recommend. So right now, through Friday, March 27th, they're giving a fantastic deal that'll let you stock up your cabinets right now. It's a buy one, get one 40. They're also doing buy two items, get two items for 40% off. Buy three items, get three items for 40% off. So the codes are going to be down here on the screen. I always have a coupon code for you guys to get 15% off of any single product at perfectketo.com. But right now, they're offering a special deal just for you guys through the end of Friday, March 27th at midnight. It ends. You can buy one item, get one 40% off, up to three items for 40% off. So please be sure to use the link down below to check that out. Again, thank you Perfect Keto for sponsoring this video. It's sponsorships like yours that keep channels like mine on the air. And in the current state of affairs, things are rather upset in the world of advertising and marketing. So I really appreciate that you've continued to sponsor me here. So you guys, if you appreciate what I'm giving to you, please go check out the link below. All right, thank you so much. All right, let's get started. All right, guys, so let's get started on our very first recipe. This is the Ultra Moist Vanilla Keto Pound Cake by author Corina Nielsen, and her recipe is from the perfectketo.com website. Now, all of the low-carb pound cake recipes online are pretty much the same. You know, it's sort of like in the regular wheat world. Not a lot of different ways to make a pound cake. They're all sort of variants on one another. So I wanted to try a traditional pound cake recipe, which we're going to make next, against one that used, like I said, a collagen or a whey protein, because I know that those alter the consistency of baked goods for the better. So I'm curious of how that works out. So this is pretty straightforward here. What we're going to do is, of course, sift y'all. And this is where I would normally tell you to go look at my Sift Y'all merchandise, but I just found out that the factory that makes and prints all of the products that my merchandise is on, they've closed all their North American factories for the coronavirus. So don't go there now, but go there sometime if you're interested in it. All right, so what we're going to do is immediately take our almond flour. This goes in, as well as a few other things. This is a little bit of coconut flour. And combining flours like this really helps break up the monotony and texture of just using almond flour, right? So let's just get some of this. See, look at all those big bumps and lumps. Now to this, we're also going to whisk in, this is the collagen. This is the vanilla keto collagen. If you're using a flavored collagen like this, Usually they have sweetener in them. So the recipe developer has taken that into account. This Perfect Keto Keto collagen, their flavored collagens are sweetened with all natural stevia, so that you can use them in like coffees and shakes and smoothies and that sort of thing. I typically use a unflavored collagen because it's not sweetened. It can be used for savory or sweet baked goods. And look at all that. What are you going to do with all that? But if you do use an unflavored collagen, be sure to bump up your sweetener a little bit in this recipe and bump up your vanilla extract because this contains vanilla and sweetener. Now to this, we're also going to add, she calls for a monk fruit sweetener or a powdered stevia. I used monk fruit because that's what I had on hand, and I tend to like it. And a little bit of salt, a little bit of baking powder. It's going to give us our lift. All right, so let's just get all this through the sieve here. Come on, get out of there. See, all that had been up in your recipe. You'd have never gotten that out of there. And some of those crystals are a little large, but we're gonna let them get in there. All right, so just whisk this together just to make sure that all this is, the dry ingredients are combined well. And now, set this aside, and we're gonna turn our attention first to this mess that I made. Hello. We're gonna turn our attention to our wet ingredients. And to this, this is 3 eggs that we have in a stand mixer, right? So 3 eggs here. And we are just going to add a little bit, we're going to supplement our vanilla collagen with a little bit of vanilla extract. And we're going to beat this on high for about a minute. All right, so beat it on high, get these eggs nice and fluffy. Okay, now to our eggs, we are going to add in the last of the ingredients and the liquid ingredients. That's a little bit of sour cream. And now, if you're new here, you're probably wondering why I'm not giving exact measurement amounts. Well, that's because my regular viewers are used to hearing me say, these are not my recipes. I'm just here to test them. The people that did develop these recipes, they deserve the traffic. So if you want to know exact ingredients, visit the links down on the screen. They'll also be in the video description below and in the comments below. So go check them out. They deserve the traffic for the hard work they did. Like I said, I'm just here to test them. So that's going to be sour cream. We're going to have a little bit of melted butter. Use your spatula and get all this out of there now. You don't want to waste any ingredients and leave them in the bowl. And lastly, she said, milk of your choice, a cup of milk of your choice. And I used unsweetened almond milk, okay? So all your liquid ingredients go in. And then this has to run for 30 to 45 seconds on high speed, all right? So I'll be right back. All right, so this has been working. So now we're just going to slowly add in 2 or 3 batches. We're going to add in our dry ingredients, and then we'll see where we go from there. So just carefully and slowly add in about 1/3 of it and crank it up a bit. All right, so this is mixed, and now it says to let this sit for 2 minutes and then let it mix it slowly on low for just a few seconds afterwards before you put it in your pan. So we're going to do that now. Imagine that's to let there was a lot of liquid ingredients. So let it kind of absorb that coconut flour. While we're doing that, I'm just going to prep my pan. She says cook this in an 8x4 loaf pan. Hello. I can't think of the word. And to use a spray or something similar. So I'm just going to spray this. And I'm using, she said you can use parchment paper. I'm going to do that as well, because if you spend a lot of money on ingredients, which low carb baking tends to do, you don't want to have it stick and stuck to the pan. That's a nightmare. So I'm going to use parchment and a spray for this. All right, so I'm coming back in 2 minutes. We'll put this in, and then the oven it goes.
A few moments later.
All right, we're gonna just pour this directly in on top of our parchment. Use a spatula, make sure you get all of this dough out. You don't wanna leave any of it behind. And so this is going to bake at 350 degrees for 50 to 60 minutes, so almost an hour. And she said additional time as needed. You want to take it out when the tops and sides are golden brown and a toothpick stuck in the middle comes out clean. So pretty standard practice there. All right, so give it a little tamp down. Boom, look at there. All right, and this goes in the oven. I'm gonna clean up here, get ready for the next recipe. I'll show you what this looks like as soon as it comes out, and I'll meet you back here in just a few minutes. All right, guys, so this has just come out of the oven, and it's nicely browned, and I'm gonna tell you that when you're looking at it here, it looks much darker on screen than it is in real life, just because of the way the shadows and lighting works. But a toothpick comes out clean. This was in there for 50 minutes. It does still feel moist in the middle, so I'm curious how this is going to turn out, but I'm going to put this on the back burner and let's get started on recipe number 2. All right, friends, so this is our second recipe. This is a low-carb keto cream cheese pound cake by fit2servegroup.com. And this is a little more traditional in its in the manipulation of the batter, because we're actually going to cream some eggs and sugar, and I like to see that. We are limited to 1 flour in this, and that is going to be almond flour. So just want to sift this as usual. Get out of there. Some of it's sticking around for some reason. All right, so sift this along with, don't spill that, along with some baking powder and a little bit of salt. Again, the recipe links are going to be right down below. They're right here on the screen, so go check out the recipe links there. You'll get exact ingredients there. So sift, sift, sift. All right, and while I'm doing this, I'm just going to tell you, I know the elephant in the room and the question that's going to be asked a million times in the comments. I'm not going to use the C word because YouTube is blocking some channels that use the C word. So Wes, do you think you had the C word? Do you think you had it? Or were you tested? I was not tested at the time that I went to the doctor and was diagnosed with bronchitis and walking pneumonia after coughing for a full week and feeling just horrible. There were no tests available to get tested, and I was just given a routine dose of antibiotics and steroids and told to come back if I felt like anything was not improving. Unfortunately, over the next 2 weeks after that, things did get worse, and I don't know. I think that I'm not qualified to talk about it, but I think that there are more people in the world that have it than we realize. And was I one of them? Maybe. I know I was sick as a dog for 3 weeks. So I'll let you make that determination. But I'm fine now, and as long as I can continue to buy ingredients, which was a challenge for this recipe, I want to keep making videos as long as you guys will keep watching them. So anyway, all right, so we've got our dry ingredients sifted together, and just whisk them, make sure that baking powder is all mixed up in there. And so here's what we're going to do. Look at my mess. I made a mess, huh? We're going to cream some butter and our sugar substitute. This is a granulated sugar substitute. I used Swerve. Look at all that. And the most important part of this recipe is that all of these ingredients have to be at room temperature. Obviously, to cream butter, it's got to be at room temperature. So we're going to put our stick of butter in and let this go and let this cream for a while, all right? I'll be right back. All right, to our creamed butter and sugar, which really didn't become creamy as you see. It kind of just, that was a lot of butter to, that was a lot of sugar, well, sugar substitute, obviously, Swerve, to incorporate in that small amount of butter. It was only half a stick. So we're going to see what's up. To this, we're also going to add room temperature cream cheese. Get in there. And a little bit of vanilla extract. Vanilla. All right, let this go and let this mix well. Okay, so while this is on a low speed, we're now going to add our eggs one at a time. You got 4 whole eggs, and these have to be room temperature as well. All of my stuff has been out for about 3 or 4 hours now. So you just add these in one at a time. Make sure it's combined well after each egg. And I know it's a pain in the butt, but it's easier to just crack these in a bowl so that you don't have to fish out the shell when you inevitably break the shell and then have to get it out of there. I know I don't like to do it either. It seems like a waste of time, but just trust me on this. So just crank this up and add these eggs in one at a time. Okay, our 4 eggs are in. I'm just going to do another quick scrape down before we add in our dry ingredients here. That's a fair amount of liquid. Make sure you're getting it off the bottom too, because that's where those sugar substitutes like to sink to the bottom, get stuck down there, and you're just mixing over top of them. You're not mixing them in. So make sure that's not happening. So now we're going to put this on low and slowly add in our dry ingredients and get this fully combined, okay? All right, I'm gonna clean up my hands. This is going in, I think it's 40 minutes for this one, 30 to 40 minutes. This is a little less volume than our other one. So this is gonna go in the oven, and I will be back here in about 30 minutes and let this cool a bit, and then we're gonna try them. So I'm gonna meet you back here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we are back. Things have cooked and cooled, and now we are ready to taste. So take a look here at what we've got. This is the first recipe we made, and look at what my big old fat thumb did. I tore it up trying to get it out of there. I knew I was going to do that. It looks great. That is the Ultra Moist Vanilla Keto Pound Cake by perfectketo.com. And our second one here is the Low Carb Keto Cream Cheese Pound Cake by fit2serve.com. And let's just talk about nutrition before we even taste these and go any further than that. The very first one here has a little more protein in it because obviously the collagen has more protein, adds protein to the recipe. So this is assuming both of these you get 12 slices out of them. You can also do them as muffins. Both mentioned that you can use muffins. So if you make 12 servings out of this, one slice is 175 calories, 15 grams of fat. You've got 5 grams of total carbs, 3 grams of fiber, so that gives you 2 net carbs per slice, and protein you've got 7 grams. And now for our second recipe, this is the Low Carb Keto Cream Cheese Pound Cake by Fit2Serve Group. And again, 12 servings, one slice is 102 calories, 9.6 grams of total fat. You've got 1.2 grams of carbs, 0.3 grams of fiber, so you're less than a carb per slice for this. And then protein, you've got 3.1 grams. So not a lot of difference there nutritionally, really. So let's just see what these, let's see what these taste like. Now, this cooked 45 minutes. This cooked about 37, 38 minutes. They're both about the same thickness. They didn't rise as much as I thought they would. They did, rise, but like a lot of keto baked goods, they kind of sink when they get out of the oven. So let's cut a slice or two of this cake and see. Oh, it's beautiful. What it looks like inside. Now, it is very moist. Can you see that? It is very moist, very white. It is very dense. This is heavy. This piece of cake is heavy. Wish it had given a little more rise there, but that's what we get. So let's cut one of these, slice of this. And this looks suspiciously still wet when I took it out, but the outside was getting done and the inside it came clean. Okay, here we go. This is the one that just has almond flour in it as the flour. This has almond and coconut flour. And they both seem quite moist. So let's taste them. They are oily. I will say they are oily. I will also say that I'm glad that I used parchment paper because they were both a little sticky and stiff and wanted to come out of there, and that's a non-stick pan that I cooked them in. So let's start with the first one. That's beautiful. It looks really white and bright and fluffy. The bottom looks great. You see how thick it is there. Let's do that. It don't focus on my face. Looks great. All right. Taste this. Ultra moist. It lives up to its moniker. Very moist. Wow. Okay, so neither of these suggested it, but a lot of pound cakes you would put a drizzle on top. This is so moist you would not need one. It could possibly have stayed in the oven 3 more minutes. Melts in your mouth. That is really good. That is really, really good. I wish you could see, I wish I could show you the thickness of that. It feels like a very wet, moist pound cake. Now, this is the other one. This is the Fit to Serve recipe, and it is, I don't want to say anything yet. Hold on. You probably know what I'm about to say. Smells great. It's good. Eggs. Eggy. Eggy, eggy, eggy. That's the difficult thing about keto baked goods and low carb baked goods. Most of them rely on eggs for lift. That little bit of teaspoon of baking powder helps. But the majority of the lift was eggs. This had 4 eggs for the recipe. This had 3 eggs. That tastes like eggs. This does not. Coconut flour helps cover some of that. This is just almond flour. The crust on this looks beautiful though, but this tastes like a cross between a cake and an omelet, if that makes sense. So, let me try this one more time. All right. By a fairly wide margin, I've got to give it to the perfectketo.com recipe from Maria. What's her name? Let's give her credit. Corina Nielsen. I do think that this could have been baked a little longer. I wish I had baked it a little longer. It would be a little firmer. You could possibly toast this as well, but this tastes more like pound cake than that does for sure. This is actually quite nice. So, yeah, there you have it. I'm not saying that this is terrible, but if you are sensitive to eggy flavored foods, much like the bread battle, if you've never seen my bread battle, it's got a little bit of naughty language in it, but you can check it out. I'll leave a link to it, one of these corners up here. So there you have it, folks. Low carb pound cake. It can be done, and quite well, I might add. I want to thank you for joining me in this video. Like I say every time, these videos are a way for me to maintain my low carb way of eating, and looking in the end of that camera as often as I can helps keep me honest. And these last 3 or 4 weeks have been extremely challenging on both fronts, both from just trying to stay healthy to trying to maintain a meal plan, and I haven't done that very well. From just self-quarantining and not trying to shop, and lack of ingredients to even purchase in the stores. It is a challenge. It certainly was for me, and I know it is for millions of other people too. So do what you can. Again, I'm not feeling my best. I'm certainly not looking my best. This has been a challenging few weeks, and we've got many more to go, but we'll do that together. As long as you guys will keep watching, I'll keep making videos. As long as I can keep finding ingredients to buy to make the recipes, we're going to keep doing this. So thank you again to Perfect Keto. for sponsoring this video. It's sponsorships like these, like I say, that keep our channels on the air, and that time is never more present than now. A lot of ad budgets have been cut, and just like many industries, you don't think of it, but us here on the other side of this camera, for us, it is an industry. This is how we make our living. So sponsorships like Perfect Keto are super important because they're sticking by the partners that they've made, and we appreciate that. So if you want to help me, check out the link below, perfectketo.com. Now's the perfect time to stock your pantry and buy one, get one 40% off. Buy 2 items, get 2 items for 40% off. Buy 3 items, likewise 3 items for 40% off. Now's the time to stock that pantry full of keto bars and other healthy meal replacement ideas, so that when, like now, if you try to go to the grocery store, you're going to find out there's very little protein, if any at all. It's been a struggle here in my urban center where I live. So those keto bars that I stashed away a few months ago, they have come in handy to have on hand. So I appreciate you, Perfect Keto, for sponsoring this video. Guys, be sure to use the link down below and help me out and help them out. So otherwise, I'll see you guys soon. If you don't know, check out my Patreon account. I'm gonna list all my Patreon sponsors here. Patreon is like the tip jar for the internet. It allows people like you who enjoy what people like me do here on YouTube. You can give $1 or $2 a month just to sort of keep the train on the tracks, as it were. So I really appreciate all of them. Stay safe, stay healthy. Best wishes to all of your family, and do what our experts are telling us. Self-quarantine. We will get through this and come out the other side. I love you all so much, and we'll see you very soon.